Friends, Cowboy Jobu here. Today on His and Hers, they're talking about Dez Bryant and his Rolling Stone interview. Let's go to the tape.
All right, the Rolling Stone cover featuring Dez Bryant will hit newsstands nationally on Friday, but some compelling details from the article already have begun to leak. Now, Dez confirmed in this article that Jerry Jones told him that a damning video existed of him, which Dez said was impossible. Remember when that was a big rumor as his contract negotiations kind of persisted. But for me, this was the most compelling of the excerpts that we were already been given. This was about his childhood. Crackheads, this is how you describe it. Crackheads in my house, potato chips and peanut butter for dinner. My life was blank all the way to college. I'm talking at least 15 people. You'd be lucky if you had a Hot Pocket for dinner. We used to eat at Salvation Army on the regular when the neighbors couldn't help us out. Man. It was a lot of stuff in the things that we've been given so far about this piece. But because he talks so openly about his past and about moments like that and his mother selling drugs to feed him and his family, are you convinced that all those issues and the things he's had to deal with in the past are indeed in the past?
Well, first of all, I think a lot of us could relate to not quite the struggle being that real,
right,
but close to it. My grandmother, she used to feed us cheese, chips, and pickles. That was my favorite snack.
3 major food groups.
I don't know why, but it grosses my wife out when I tell her about that. The Hot Pockets, though, I mean, that's gourmet right there. The pepperoni pizza Hot Pocket.
I don't mean to derail this conversation.
I just did.
I've never had a Hot Pocket in life.
What? Never had a Hot Pocket? Girl, you don't know what you're missing.
Go ahead. Take away whatever struggle card I had.
You're going to watch Space Jam and eat Hot Pockets.
Okay.
We're going to get you right, okay? But to answer your question about his past, I also liked how he said, because remember we talked about how far he was willing to go with the contract impasse when he said, I'll miss games. My favorite line, because apparently the Cowboys, according to this article, offered Dez $90 million with $12 million guaranteed. As we know, he ended up with $70 million and $45 guaranteed. That's a big difference.
Isn't it?
That's a big difference.
A different starting point.
He said the Cowboys thought that he was going broke and he would cave. He said, I came from nothing and I got no problem going back there. Mr. Jones thinks he knows me, but he doesn't know blank. So, he was willing to stand for his money because he had grown up poor. But to answer your original question, sorry it's taking me so long when you said, am I convinced his issues are behind him? Look, you mentioned off the top that according to this story, according to Dez, it was Jerry Jones who said there might be damning video out there. Or no, actually it said there might be damning video and it might come out. Dez said that no such video existed. But did something happen? And if it did happen, will we ever find out? Do we need to find out? I mean, what's the statute of limitations? It was 4 years ago now? I don't know. But then you got his old advisor, David Wells, who clearly there was some money issues there. And then Wells has this quote at the end of the excerpt. I don't know if it's at the end of the article. David Wells says, if Rock Nation wants to bring charges, they're welcome to, but they better be aware of everything that's out there because I'm going to be able to depose Dez Bryant, and I know things that they don't. What's going on here? So It just feels like there's still some beef between he and David Wells over some of the money that Wells may have mishandled. Who knows who to believe? But it just sounds like Dez, he's matured a lot. That he's not there was another great quote where he says that the Cowboys think I was a one-man crime wave. But, I'm not that guy. I'm no Michael Irvin, actually, is what he said. I'm no Michael Irvin, which was interesting. But it just feels like there's something beneath the surface. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It might not be Dez, but it's just people around him. Who knows?
I guess maybe the sense of there's some other shoe that will drop of something that we don't know or that we haven't learned about him. And I guess that possibility always exists. But I will say this, though. I think that sometimes people who have been through as much as Dez Bryant has been through in his life, those are the people who wind up making the most amazing impact. We see this right now, a current example with Maurice Claret, somebody who has been through a lot, been to prison.
Oh, man, what a story.
What a story, and look at what he has become. I see Dez because of his natural charisma, because of his passion, his enthusiasm for life. I guess I'm taking him at his words. I don't think he's looking to blow this. All right.
Yeah.
I don't think he's.
I agree.
I don't think that he's. I don't consider him a self-destructive person. He talks about how he rarely drinks and how well he takes care of his body.
He's uneasy hanging out at clubs. Remember the Dez
which is not
anxious around strangers.
Which is not exactly sort of the
Works
depiction
on his day off.
that you got of him. I think it's important to him to be great.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I will gamble and bet on those people every time.
Yeah.
You want to be great. You don't want to blow this. I know his family dynamic is unusual for a lot of people, but still, that doesn't mean that because he has had this past, and a lot of it wasn't his fault. I mean, he couldn't help how he was raised.
Correct.
He couldn't help some of the struggles his mother went through, the environment. That wasn't his fault. He didn't ask to be born into that. I think those lessons will wind up serving him for a greater purpose even further on down the road. So whether or not his past is behind him, it's hard for me to predict. But I just don't see him messing this up.
Well, I think we have to distinguish between past transgressions,
right,
and overinflated though they may have been, or his past and the people in his past. My concern is just that, does he have the right support group around him? I mean, you got David Wells out here saying, have you seen the police report? Have you heard the 911 call? Something happened in that Walmart parking lot. Like what's going on here? And as he distanced himself from that kind of drama. All to your point, though, Jamel, about him and wanting to be great, that's why I always ride for him with the training camp fights or with the outbursts on the sideline, because it is clearly important to him. He wants to be an all-time great player. Thankfully, the Cowboys saw that and said, hey, we need to sign this guy up, because like him or not, or like his attitude or not, if you're a fan, he's the face of that team moving forward as Tony Romo kind of winds down his career.
And he's sort of the pulse and the heartbeat. He's the soul of it, for sure. It was something interesting that Tony Romo said that kind of struck me when you said the right supporting class, that there's something still naive about Dez, despite the fact that he's lived, and been through that life and been around that kind of environment, which clearly was not, in many ways fit for a child. He still, that will be the part I will worry about, because this lifestyle is so new, okay?
And he has a lot of new money.
And he has a lot of new money. I hope he's trusting the right people.
That's exactly
so
right.
I think that's...
How about you had to steal the equipment?
Steal football equipment to start playing.
To style some shoulder pads, and thankfully they fit. The rest is history.
Can't wait to read it in full.
Yeah.
Boy, a lot there. I can't wait to read it tomorrow. Hope that you have a great night, friends.